May I call upon our guest of honor today, the Executive Director of IDBI Bank, Shri T.R.Bajaliya, to kindly take a step forward and share his views and thoughts on this. Over to you, sir.
Honorable Jain Sahab, Mr. Lakhotia, Ghia Sahab, Mr. Devendra Jain and other dignitaries on the dais, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Lakhotia has really made the NPAs as a source of income. But from banking side, I feel NPA is a very bad word. Any bank which is having higher NPAs is considered to be the inefficient bank. And it is a double-edged sword for the banks. The moment an account becomes NPA, banks don't get any income on those assets. In addition to this, they have to make the additional provision for that. And within 4 years, they have to provide the entire loan outstanding. And after 4 years, if the recovery is possible, otherwise they have to write off those loans. It is really a very, very bad word as far as banks are concerned. The same borrower who is borrowing from the banks, and if the bank is having higher NPAs, claims that this bank is totally useless, they are having a lot of NPAs. Perhaps he may be one of that. But on the other hand, when NPAs are growing, it is a good word for asset reconstruction companies, investors, and other people also. I think the entrepreneurs or promoter, they will agree with me that once the unit starts facing any problem, it can be due to any reason. It can be due to the market reason. It can be due to the industry problem. It can be due to the environment. They can't stop the payment of their suppliers. They can't stop the payment of their utilities. And ultimately, they have to stop the payment to the banks. And banks, if the dues are not paid within 90 days, the case becomes NPA. And higher the NPAs, the rating of the banks are affected. They get the funds at very high cost, and then they have to lend at the higher cost where their efficiency is affected. On the other hand, the moment a case is diagnosed as a stress asset, I think where the borrower is in a very good position to assess that his unit is facing the problem. At that moment itself, he tries to associate some investor, some equity fund. I think he can revive the unit and he can take care of the unit. The more he delays, the account becomes NPA. Banks, and it is fact, the moment banks don't feel like extending any benefit, and their intention is to recover whatever possible is there. There has to be a source, there has to be a place where the bank, the investor, the private equity funds, or the buyer of those assets, or asset reconstruction companies, NBFCs, they can think of a common source from where they can get the information and they can buy those assets. And Mr. Devendra Jain, he really came out with a very fantastic idea of having this website where the entire information related with the NPAs will be available from the bank side, from the borrower side. Mr. Devendra Jain, about 4 or 5 months before, when he got this idea, and one day he came and he discussed with me and he said that I want to go for this site, whether it will work. And he was having a very good concept and idea. I only told him that maybe you are going for this site. The major problem will be getting the information, because banks are governed by a secrecy where they are not supposed to disclose any information related to their borrowers to any other outsider. So he will find it very difficult to get this information. Then he simply said that these days lot of securitization notices are coming in the paper. Almost all the banks, they are issuing the notice which are published in the paper, and from the paper he can get lot of information about those assets, and once he starts that, perhaps he can build a big data related to those assets. Further, the cases which are with DRT, he can get the information from DRT. Lot of cases are there in BFR, he can get the information. So his concept that how he will utilize the information in today's world of information, where all things happen based on the information, he can make best use of this information. I think I congratulate him for this concept and the idea which he has developed. It is really going to help the entire economy of the country. If we see that about 10 years before, when civil came and nobody was willing to give any information to the civil, then finally banks, they have to obtain the consent of the borrower in writing that in case they default, their names will be disclosed to the civil. And today, even if you have defaulted 100 rupee on payment of your credit card, next month your name appears in the civil list. And for getting any further assistance, you have to get the clearance from the civil side. If your name is there, you will not get any further loan. So this is going to provide a very good help. On the same lines, if this NPA information comes to a common pool, which I further feel that they are pursuing with various banks, it will take some time. It is this information for the banks to disclose, because not only the borrower, who are the guarantor, what is the net worth of the guarantors, because any buyer who is going to acquire those assets, he is not acquiring the assets, he is acquiring all intangibles also. Whatever net worth of those promoters is there, in case he has to go for the guarantee invocation, he has to see that what are the guarantees available. So all this information, unless they have the complete information, sale of asset to other ARC or to other buyer becomes difficult. Again, the quality of valuation of assets. In India, we find that sometimes it is very easy to get the value, whatever value you want. The borrower, at the time of when they want to have a higher loan, they can inflate the value. And the bank side also, if they feel that the value, they are going to get much less value, they can also say that, no, give me the distress sale value, which will be at the lower level. So valuation also can be managed. In today's environment, I feel that it is getting managed. So the concept which Mr. Jain has, he is following, or he is going to develop that. I think if the entire information, where all the banks come forward and give him the information, he is working very hard on that. He has met Reserve Bank, he is meeting the banks. I think it is in the interest of the banks if this information, maybe with due precautions, how the secrecy of the borrowers can be maintained and it is given there, and all the information, if it is available at one point of time, the borrower definitely he can get a good buyer for his assets, or he can even look for a investor or equity investor in that. As far as banks are concerned, they can see that what is the value of the asset, who are the other lenders, and what are the other securities they have given to other lenders, or the same security, whether it has been given to other banks or even other lenders. So all this information is going a long way to help in resolving the NPAs. I think once this site is fully completed and it is in totally transparent manner, when he gets all this information, it is definitely going to help the entire economy. Initially, definitely they are going to have the problem, but I don't see any difficulty. The way they are working and the way they are taking the initiative, they are pursuing, I'm sure they are going to make this site a very successful, and this is the first site, I think, in India or perhaps maybe in Asia it is coming. So I wish Mr. Jain all the success in this.